Morning, everyone. One of the members hasn't logged in yet, so we're just going to have to bear with us a second. It may be a technical issue, so you can bear with us just a minute or two.
Hi.
Okay. Hello. Thank you, Nicola, for coming in. We're just going to open it up with, first of all, apologies for absence, please.
No apologies, Chair.
Thank you. Any disclosures of personal or prejudicial interest? No? Okay, thank you. So you will have had these papers. Yep. You've got a copy of these each?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce ourselves, so then people that are online will know who we're talking to, and you can address us that way then as well. I'm Councillor Penny Matthews. I'll be chairing this morning.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Samantha Jenkins. I'm Democratic Services Officer.
Morning, I'm Councillor Leslie Walton.
Good morning, I'm Annie Davis. I'm a licensing officer.
Good morning, I'm Rachel Loosemore. I'm Operational Lead for Licensing.
I'm Darren Murphy, Licensing, Swansea Council.
And Craig Davis, the Legal Advisor.
You, sir?
Well, I'm Hugh Jenkins, the applicant.
And I'm Julian Poole, one of the organisers.
Thank you. And online we have one of our councillors. Nicola, if you'd like to introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Councillor Nicola Furlong.
Thank you for that. Okay, so our legal representative will take us through the order of service for today, okay?
Yes. Yes, good morning. So I saw your apprehension when we mentioned the documents. Obviously, you've received paper copies today, but you have received those bundles prior today, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yes. Good. Okay. So this, your license application, there's, because representations have been made, it's called into the committee for the members to decide upon it. There's a set running order, which is from page 1 to page 2, where effectively the officers will set out what's in the report, what you have in front of you, including what's in the application. The members will ask questions of the officers. Then it will move on to yourselves to set out what your application is. And the members can again ask you questions. In other committees, there's a fair bit more to it in that if you see point 6 on page 1, you'll see that representations from other authorities, so the police, trade standards, fire and things like that. When you look at the report on page 4, again, point 6, you'll see that there's no representations there. So ordinarily we'd be jumping around speaking to those prior to yourselves, but they haven't made representations. So it will, as I said, come directly to you. And in the scenario of when other persons were present, they would also be asking questions, perhaps of you, or making comments, and there'd be a bit of dialogue back and forth. We don't have that today. So really, the members will ask you questions. At the conclusion of that, then, well, prior to the conclusion, as I said, you would have had questions from other people's. And then it goes back to you for, if you like, a closing submission. So really, after you've spoken and had questions, you then get an opportunity to say what you've just said. There will be questions from myself as well. But effectively, what is on page 1 and 2 is going to be the flow of the matter. Ultimately, then, at the conclusion, the members and I will go into closed submissions. The members will ask questions and or I'll summarise, and then a vote and decision and reasons, and within 5 days a letter will be sent out to yourselves whereby a decision for, against or a modified application, depending on what is said today, will be sent out. I'll take this opportunity to say there have multiple representations have been received from local residents, local community councils and such. Representations were also actually emailed directly to the chair late this week. That's not the orthodox way of representations being sent to a committee. They should go to the licensing officers like all the others have. Just because they've gone to the chair, no additional weight has been given to them other than they've been given to the officers who've then disseminated them like they would be in the normal scenario. The officers will confirm shortly, but I believe none of the representatives are going to be present today. That said, all reps are in this report and bundle. The 2 additional ones, as I said, have been passed around. So it may be the case that the reps aren't read out because they are numerous, but they have been taken as read. Okay, so the sufficient weight has been given or will be given to those when the members close for deliberation, and I'm sure comments within those reps will be commented on and considered at that time.
Sorry, Craig, can I just clarify that the information were not additional reps, it was just additional information amplifying already submitted representation?
Apologies, yes, sorry. So the persons who sent the 2 emails, it wasn't an add-on extra reps. They'd already made representations and it was amplifying what they'd said. Effectively, when someone comes here today, they could have done a 2-liner rep, and when they came today, then they'd amplify it. So those direct emails were in a replacement of that, really. Okay. I'm saying all this because persons are watching online who have made those reps. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go to the officer now who will explain to us why we're here today.
Thank you, Chair. So a premises licence application has been made for the Joe Poe Festival in Wobley Castle, Llanryddion, Swansea, SA3 1HB. The applicant is HD Events Limited. An application for a new premises licence was received by this authority on the 15th of April 2024. The applicant has applied for a premises licence to allow the following licensable activities to take place. Live and recorded music, Wednesday to Thursday, 12 until 11:30. Friday to Saturday, 12 until 1:30 AM. Sunday, 12 until midnight. Late night refreshment, Friday to Saturday, 11 PM to 1:30 AM, and Sunday, 11 PM to midnight. Supply of alcohol, Wednesday to Thursday, 12 in the afternoon until 11 PM, and Friday to Saturday, 12 in the afternoon until 1 AM, and then Sunday, 12 in the afternoon until midnight. A copy of the application and plan is attached to Appendix A, which can be found on pages 7 to 32 of the application of the agenda pack, and A1, which can be found on pages 33 to 34. The premises will host a music festival over 4 days, once per annum. The event has been running at Wobley Castle for a number of years using Wobley Castle's premises licence. However, the organisers are now seeking their own premises licence. A location plan is attached to Appendix B, which can be found on page 35 of the pack, and a list of licensed premises in the area is attached to Appendix B1, which is on pages 36 to 37. Promotion of the licensing objectives. The Licensing Act 2003 contains 4 licensing objectives, namely the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. Each of these objections is of equal importance, and the application must demonstrate how they are to be promoted. Conditions which are consistent with the operating schedule and will be attached to the licence if granted are attached to Appendix C, which can be found on pages 38 to 40. Relevant representations were not received from any responsible authority. However, representations have been received from 5 other persons. A copy of the representations are attached to Appendix D, which can be found on pages 41 to 45 of the pack. Policy considerations. Considering this application, members should have regard to the current statement of licensing policy, which can be found in the following link, which is included in the agenda pack. Guidance issued by the Home Secretary. Members should also have regard to the relevant parts of the current statutory guidance issued by the Home Secretary in January 2024. In particular, Introduction, Chapter 1, Licensing Objectives, Chapter 2, Applications for Premises Licenses, Chapter 8, Determining Applications, Chapter 9, Conditions Attached to Premises Licenses, Chapter 10, Statement of Licensing Policy, Chapter 14, and Regulated Entertainment, Chapter 16. A link to the full guidance can also be found in the pack. Determination of the application. The decision must be based on the individual merits of the application and the representations received, with a view to promoting the licensing objectives outlined in paragraph 5 of the report. In arriving at the decision, members should also have regard to the relevant provisions of the policy and the guidance as previously provided. Reasons must be provided for any departures from the policy or guidance. In reaching the decision, the committee must have regard to the representations, take such steps mentioned below, if any, as it considers appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. A. Grant the licence subjective to conditions that reflect the operating schedule modified to such extent as the authority considers appropriate for promotion of the licensing objectives. Certain regulated entertainment under the Licensing Act as amended has been deregulated. Where entertainment is deregulated but licensable activities continue to take place on any premises, any licence conditions imposed on a grant of a licence in respect of any deregulated entertainment will be suspended. Any mandatory conditions relevant to the licence. B. Exclude any of the licensable activities to which the application relates. C. Refuse to specify a person in the licence as the premises supervisor. And D. Reject the application. The licensing subcommittee's instructions are requested. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do any of the committee have any questions for the officer, please? Okay. Can I just clarify something with you for the sake of anybody who's listening online? This event has been running previously. Okay.
Correct.
And it was running under Wobley Castle Tents license.
Correct.
So what was the latest time that that was operational, please?
They would have been operating under Wobley Castle's licensing times, which are set out in Appendix B1,
Page 36.
which is on page 36. So the latest they would have been running would have been midnight.
Midnight. Okay.
Yeah.
The only reason
Close midnight, midnight, sorry.
midnight. The only reason I ask is it's for clarity for people that perhaps haven't got a copy of this or possibly haven't seen it online. That's the only reason. Thank you for that. For the officer. So did our representations from the public, but not from anyone else. So do we don't need to read these now again, do we? Because we've read them, we've been through them. Anything you want to summarize in them, or?
I mean, they're available in the pack. I don't think we need to
That's
read
fine.
them.
It was,
Yep.
as I set out earlier, and you've just confirmed that you and the other members have read those representations. Certainly the two amplifications which were emailed to yourself, you've seen as well. And on that basis, you being the decision makers, you're the ones who need to have seen those reps. The persons who wrote them, obviously wrote them, they are in the pack, which the applicants would have seen as well, and or anyone who perhaps is online would have received the pack as well. So the view is ultimately they don't have to be read out. They can be read out, but if you're happy that you've had sight and will consider, there's no need to read through them all.
And perhaps you can explain to us why you're here today and what you'd like a license for exactly. Okay.
Sorry about that. So I think with the objections that we've had to the licenses is, from what we can see from representations from people in the local area, that the biggest objection is to the change in the hours compared to previous events that we've hosted, which we can completely understand. But ultimately, we don't plan on changing the event in any way compared to previous years. We've put that into the license because this is the first time that we've applied for the license independently. So we just wanted to cover ourselves and cover all bases for potential future growth of the event as well. Not in a more people kind of way, but in being able to get creative with how the event is run and keeping it fresh every year. So having a slightly later license might allow us to implement certain other types of entertainment. And that was the only reason that we had that we put the extra hours when applying for the license.
Do you have any questions?
Just following on from that, would you consider reducing the hours?
Absolutely.
Councillor Furlong, do you have any questions, please?
Yeah, can I ask what the reason is? Why are you applying for the license independently? What is the reason? Is it because it's grown or?
So when we started the festival in 2019, we did it under someone else's license who now controls the bar and the liquor license. And as it's grown, we sort of just want to take more control over it, control over the event, and that's in a nutshell why really. The event, we've got no intentions to change the event. It's still going to be a family-run festival. It's still for families. We're not extending the days on it either. And as I say, it's not an additional event in Webley. It's the same event. We're not adding more events in the same area. It is just the same event. But that is why we just want to have control ourselves, so that so that we are in control of it, basically.
Thank you.
So ultimately, to expand on what Julian just said, ultimately, in order for us to maintain doing this event moving forward as well, it has to become financially beneficial for us. Not that we plan on making lots and lots of money from it, because it, like Julian said, it is a family-based event. But by us being in control of the license, it does mean that we take control of bar and bar sales and have a little bit control over the finances that the event does bring in, which we didn't have previously.
Thank you.
Oh, gone.
With regard to the car park, how much room is there in the car park? How many cars will they take?
I couldn't tell you the right number,
Okay.
but the actual number of cars. But there is we, unlike Love Trails, which is mentioned in all of the concerns, like they have 4,000 people and take 5 fields. They stop the road, have traffic management, and they do it brilliantly. But we have one field, and we control everything within that one field. Camping held on one end, car parking on the other. There's no shortage of car parking. That was one of the reasons as well why they mentioned in the thing about opening up on the Thursday. Well, the Thursday idea was the fact that if we have a Thursday night one, and that has happened previously, when people come, they come up and they don't camp on the Thursday, but they come and set up on the Thursday, and then they leave and then they come back on the Friday. It just limits all of the traffic then on the Friday and the Saturday. So that was the reason why we had the sort of a softer start on the Thursday night then. But yeah, going back to the car parking, sorry, I wandered off. Yeah, there's plenty. There's no shortage of camping, no parking on that field.
And you will manage the car park, or you will have security on the
Yeah,
car
we've
park,
got we've got a team of security, and also volunteers doing all the car parking. And there's an in and an out into the field. There's a top entrance and a bottom entrance, so they're directed from the top down to the bottom, and then there's an exit on a different entrance to the way in.
Okay, that's great, thank you. Any more questions, please?
Any more from members before I?
No.
Thank you. I'm just going to break down some of the things you said, and I'm happy that actually you said that you went off, but talked about the Thursday, because Mr. Jenkins, you said, look, we're not extending the days. I'm sure the representatives will be jumping up and down when they heard that, because the previous license, which you would have used for Wobley Castle, was a 3-day license. Now, the information here, sets out music festival over 4 days, once per annum. But of course, the application refers to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's 5 days on the documents, which is on the face of it more than what was before. But although 5 days are mentioned as to when it could be run, it's going to be 4 within the 5. Yeah. So there is an extra day. But therefore, that extra day, as you've just commented on regarding a Thursday, is that the view that ultimately people are going to turn up on that day and perhaps the event be?
Yeah, so we have no intention of running live music on the Thursday as such, or the festival starting or being used on the Thursday as an event. It was simply just to get the people in and get them camping and set up. They may not even, and in previous years they don't even stay on the Thursday night. They just leave. Well, we've had such bad weather in the last 3 years. They've just, if it's been sunny on the Thursday, they've just come up and set up on the Thursday and then left and then come back on the Friday. So we just felt we covered everything in the application, but you can add to it.
So sorry, I just wanted to add that it's not when Julian's saying that people come up and set up on the Thursday, that's not the attendees of not the festival goers. That's all the staff and all the vendors and everything like that that come on the Thursday, get set up, all our families potentially. Just because it is a family run thing, we spend the week setting the festival up. So the Thursday is when everyone tends to come and get their spots. And then Friday is the official start day of the festival, when the people with tickets will be arriving.
Okay, well, not okay, all right? So the point here is it's put as a let me get back to that word then, over 4 days, okay? The license is for 4 days. What you're saying is effectively a 3-day. You're saying if people can turn up, put the stuff there and go, but actually official start is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's a 3-day event. Now, applicants can say what you're saying, right? Great. I'm sure the representatives would be not happy, but pleased to say, oh, look, it's going to be 3 days. But for this application purposes, you go and if you were granted, you would be granted a 4-day event. So there can be scenarios where persons can say one thing, but actually they're licensed to do another. Okay. So in reality, and I'm not promoting anything in any way, but if persons were to set up and the license was granted from Thursday, then the event can run from then. So you know that needs to be said so everyone's aware across the board. There's a few more points I need to make. Okay. So I haven't seen it within the documents. You alluded to something short earlier. The application is going to be for 4,999 persons, yes? Okay, so on previous events run under Wobley Castle license, or were previous events run under any 10s? All under the Wobley one?
No, so previous licenses were run under Wobley's license, and I do believe anything over 499 people requires a license like this, which does allow you up to 5,000 people. We don't have those kind of ticket sales. It's just a formality of this is the next step.
Ronald, because that's where I'm going with that.
Can-
Do you have any
can-
ideas to what sort of ticket sales you'll have?
Sorry, can I just digest? Because we weren't in control of the previous license as well. So I'm going to be completely honest with you. Although you are asking us information about it, and we still get on with the guy who had the license, the truth of the matter is it was his license and he was in control of it. So some of those questions we might not know the answers to. You know, which again is one of the reasons why we want to make sure we are doing it correctly. Yeah, with regards to numbers, well, there's no way we could go bigger than 500 at least, but we're not talking thousands. We're never going to be anywhere like Love Trails where 4,000 people or anything like that. And if it would, I'm guessing we'd need to change our license then anyway, would we? Or not? But we won't be growing to that sort of size anyway.
Oh, sorry to know. There was another question by one of the members where you were asked, would you consider reducing the hours? And you said yes, it's a family run event. Now, normally we would have such a question because, of course, we have the reps who are commenting in relation to hours and things like that, and the change from Wobley times to these times. Bear in mind, every application is on its own merits. You've referred to Love Trails, okay? That's a separate entity. It happens to be dealt with on the same site, okay? So while by saying it's on its own merits, they, other events are not tarred with each other's brush, okay? But the residents, to acknowledge, have had to put up with noise in any event, like anyone, any other event. So ordinarily, we would have a representative in person, but if we take it from what they've said here and what the members asked, would you consider a variation of any of the hours? Is that something that you have thought about? Because for you, let's say, the recorded music, Wednesday to Thursday, I think in my mind this appears to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So is up till 11:30. Friday and Saturday to 1:30, and Sunday 12:30. Don't answer yet, but have you had any consideration about any amendments to those times? Or is it more in relation to the alcohol, which on a Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday is up to 11 p.m, Saturday 1 p.m, Sunday midnight?
Yeah, so like we said, we were just, it being our us applying under our own merit and not using anyone else's license. We made the application for the extra hours, not with any intent of running the festival to those hours, but just allowing us the space to breathe and grow in the future if we wanted to make changes. Now, ultimately, we would happily come back to the hours that were used in previous festivals that we put on the previous few years, which would be the hours that you would see with Wobley Castle's license. But you know, again, we just put those hours in as it gives us the room to expand and grow and change and adapt the festival to whatever we need, you know.
I would say that the Wednesday and the Thursday in this application are in there, but they're not necessarily needed from what we've discussed. But if they could, then brilliant, great. And the hours, the extended hours, yeah, are just if we could, and Hugh just says just have a bit more control of them, that would be great. Yeah.
You do understand, as you know, the license, if granted, would be 4 days. So if this license were to be used on Wednesday, Thursday, you'd only have Friday, Saturday, no Sunday.
That's right, yeah.
Is there a reason? I don't want to say things to offer things up in any way, but your late night music runs Wednesday, Thursday to 11:30 p.m. Of course, the alcohol is there on this current times until 11, but your late night refreshment will only go to 11 p.m. under the statutory. Have you intentionally not applied for late night refreshment, i.e. hot food, on Wednesday and Thursday?
Well, yeah, essentially, yeah, we don't intend on having hot food on those days. Like I said, it was going to be more so an opening party. But no, that's a wrong thing to say. Not an opening party. It would be a family and friends and a vendors setting up hours, you know.
I don't think I have anything further to say. Yeah, yes. Sorry, thank you. In your documents, you set out that you'll engage with Safety Advisor Group, SAG, and or provide an event management plan. And I think from recollection, it was from 3 months the event. We're now 4th of June. Is the event due to be held in August?
Yeah.
Right, so you're very close to being within or are within that period of time. So you will need to engage with the Safety Advisor Group and ensure that those plans are sent across, depending on what the decision is. But within the documents, I believe it was point 36. I'm raising it now, so it's said across the board. I don't believe what I'm going to say is a licensable, conditionable point. By that I mean the members make a condition that you have to stick to. It's something that should be within the documents, but I'm aware that the location historically has had issues with groundwater, and then there was a fire risk at some point some years ago. I'm having my cake and eating it here now because I said you shouldn't be tarred with other people's brushes, but there may be a view that additional water butts may need to be brought onto the site for firefighting purposes. There's also a comment within the documents which says that sufficient first aiders and sufficient SIA licence holders should be present. It's not a question for the committee. It will be a question for when you engage with the Safety Advisor Group. Please ensure that your sufficient is equal to the local authority sufficient. And to know that, you need to engage sooner rather than later, depending on the outcome. Okay.
Can I just come back and ask you about emptying bottles, because that can be an issue. You know, when you've got a quantity of bottles and you've got to tip them into a container, whatever. I'm pretty keen on this because it makes a heck of a noise. I know there are going to be no glass bottles on site, but what about the containers that you decant from then? Are they going to be glass?
So, yeah, I mean, there are going to be glass bottles to be decant from. You can't avoid that. That's just what certain alcohol gets supplied in.
Yeah.
But in terms of keep it, I know what you're saying about noises when buckets of bottles get tipped, it can be noisy. Stuff like that won't be happening late at night at the festival. Where the bottles go into a bin, they will pretty much stay there till the end of the event, and then we've got a system of people, including the farmer who owns the land, who helps us with all the waste and the way that we can recycle everything and get.
But you'd be emptying them daily, I suppose, into some sort of container.
Yes.
And that's what I would like to try and agree with you on, rather than impose something. And we usually say about 9 o'clock, 9:30, because then where you're situated and it's taking place, it's going to ricochet everywhere, isn't it, that noise? So to safeguard your neighbours, is there a time you'd like to put forward?
I think we'd be led by what that really wouldn't be an issue.
Okay,
What we'd be
that's
led by, if they wanted specific times for it, then we just make sure it was done within that. As I say, there's so much space there, we could have ample storage, so that wasn't even done during the event, and it was just done on, say, the Monday during the clear up, just once during the whole event. But if you wanted something specific, as we just go along with that isn't a problem.
It's just a neighbourly thing to do, isn't
Yes,
it?
yeah, I understand, yeah.
And I think that would.
I agree, and there are things which I've written here, which I probably won't even get a chance to say, but things like we do care about the people in the village. You know, it isn't the whole nature. I'd love you to come and see the event, because it is very much a family event. There's face painting. It's not a big rave like like it can be portrayed then, you know. Things like the speaker positions, they're all considered. The tent layout, where the openings to the tents were considered, so that the sound was going certain directions. So yeah, we will, anything like that, we do take control.
That's fine, thank you. And just check nobody else has got any more questions, no? Councillor Furlong, have you got any more questions, please? No? Okay, thank you. Well, if you'd like to sum up, just a brief summary, and we'll go into recess then and make a decision, and then, as our legal representatives explained, you will get the decision in writing in 5 days. Okay, thank you.
So essentially, in regards to the changing of the times and everything like that, we're more than happy to bring it back within hours that are agreed by yourself and the residents. I mean, we did see in some of the representations that they weren't necessarily opposed to the fact the event was happening, just the change in the hours. And you know, like we've stated, it's got nothing to do with trying to make a more disruptive festival for the local people. We're very happy to include everyone and whatever can keep everybody happy and help the event go ahead. We're more than happy to work with people on. And ultimately, it is a, like Julian's just said, it is a family-run event. And with all the local people, we do love. There's a lot of people attend the event from the local area, and it's something that we really like to see. Lots of local business owners want to be involved, and we're all always very open to that. So yeah, that's the difference from that.
Yeah, just say a similar sort of thing, really. Essentially, it's not a new event. It's the same event that is happening, just a different licensee, basically. And yeah, as we've just said, it's good for the area. The amount of people who come locally, you know, and even people who come in locally to campsites that then come and enjoy it, like look, you know, and enjoy it when they're down here, not necessarily staying with us, happens. So yeah, it's just just a change of licensee, really, and yeah, that's it.
Attending this morning. And you will hear from us, okay? Thank you.